Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This morning, when I went for a walk, I saw chicory everywhere along the roadside. They're probably the most common wildflower in this area. And the best time for them to bloom is during the summer. They attract a lot of insects, particularly these tiny bees, commonly known as the sweat bees. And for this insect, the flower must be like a candy store. Well, for us humans, we better eat a lot of vegetables. If you'd like to find a way to increase your vegetable consumption, then this video channel is designed for you. I think we all realize that we need to eat more vegetables. But to increase vegetable consumptions in this country is not simple. Most people find eating vegetable to be rather boring, and I can understand that very well. Because it takes far more skill to cook vegetable dishes in comparison to cook meat dishes. To create the right combinations of vegetable in a dish require some practice. However, once you get it right, you will find that the vegetable dishes are far more interesting and delightful. In this video, I want to show you how to create the right ingredient mix for a vegetable medley that is based on bok choy. There are several different kinds of bok choy. The original type of bok choy that you normally find in the supermarket for a long time are the large bok choy. And then in recent years, the smaller bok choy, frequently known as baby bok choy, come onto the market. There are two basic types. One is green in color, the other one is more whitish in the stem. Now if you look on the line, and you will find that most of the bok choy recipe are cooked with only just the bok choy. If you are like me, you probably will find eating just the bok choy alone can get monotonous. And for this reason, I used to cook bok choy only occasionally until I find a way that I can create bok choy with other vegetables in forming a medley. In this video, I'm going to show you how I create a bok choy medley with 3 other vegetables. And I will explain to you why I choose certain type of ingredients to go with the bok choy. In this video, I'm going to use the kind of bok choy frequently referred to as the white stem bok choy because it has a white stem. It is a baby bok choy. To prep them, I first cut them in half and then I split the stem. Basically, I want to cut the stem to about the bite size. This will make them easier to eat as well as cook faster. I then wash them in water by putting them in a large colander. And it is very important that you cut them up first before you wash them. Because quite often there are soil caught in the crevices of the stem. And if you wash them before you cut them up, the soil will stay there. And this is not a good thing because it will make the bok choy taste gritty. I will store them in a 5-cup plastic container. This is my advanced prepping strategy. Now when you prep bok choy like this, they have a shelf life up to almost 10 days. And with that bag of bok choy that I showed you in the beginning, it is enough for 3 meals, and I usually use it up in about a week. I use them in combination with other food ingredients to create variations. Otherwise, if I just eat them by themselves, it can get quite boring. So in today's example, I'm going to show you how I create a bok choy vegetable medley, and in this case to go with a shallow fried fish. I use my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok to cook this dish. I start out with 2 tablespoons of canola oil. The wok has been used previously to cook a fish dish. I did not wash the wok because this bok choy vegetable medley is going to be mixed with the fish dish. I used about 5 cups of bok choy. As you can see here, the bok choy takes up quite a bit of space before it is being cooked down. And this is when a 14-inch wok is very handy. Instead of using a wok spatula to stir-fry the bok choy, I use a pair of long-handled tongs. I find the long-handled tongs is much easier for turning the bok choys in the wok. So here actually I am doing a combination of both stir-frying and steaming the bok choy at the same time. After cooking down the bok choy for about a minute, I switch to my wok spatula. There are 2 main strategies to cook the bok choy. One is to stir-fry the bok choy until the stem turns soft. Now, if you would like the stem of the bok choy stay relatively crisp, then this is the approach to take. However, if you want the stem of the bok choy to be really soft, then you can add water early on to start steam them right away. And of course, depending on your preference, you can do something in between as well. Over the years, I have experimented with both of this approach, and my personal preference is that I like the stem to be relatively crisp. However, at the same time, I do not want it to be too crunchy. To achieve that perfect texture is what makes bok choy both interesting and challenging to cook. By this time, I estimated my bok choy is about 50% cooked. I start to add in about 1 cup of yellow squash and about ½ cup of zucchini. Now, the reason that I add yellow squash and zucchini at a later time is an example of sequential cooking, which means that you add the ingredients that you want to cook less at a later time during the cooking process. And if I add the yellow squash and the zucchini right in the beginning together with the bok choy, they will be overcooked. So by using this sequential cooking technique, you can control different food ingredients in your stir-fry dish to exactly the way how you like them. And for every vegetable medley, there is one ingredient to be what I would call the star of the show. And this is the main attraction of the dish, so they will be present in the largest quantity. Whereas the other ingredients, I consider them to be supplementary. In this case, I add a little bit more yellow squash than zucchini because I like yellow squash better. And of course, sometimes it also depends on what you have available on hand. At this point, I do a quick taste test of the texture of the stem of the bok choy. If it is too firm, I will cook them longer. But it seems to be taste great to me. Next, I'm going to season the dish. I'm going to start out with 1 tablespoon of minced ginger. And this is followed by 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. By adding them at later stage of this cooking process, their flavor will be stronger in the dish. This is particularly true for ginger. Since my wife loves ginger, I usually try to add the ginger toward the end so she can have a distinct taste of the ginger. Ginger and garlic go very well with bok choy, particularly that it takes away the sharp taste of the dark bok choy and make it more with a umami flavor. To give the bok choy a slight spice flavor, I add about 1 teaspoon of garlic pepper. To further enhance the umami flavor of the dish, I add 1 teaspoon of my basic seasoning mix. You can take a look at this video to learn more about what is in this basic seasoning mix. The final ingredients I'm going to add is some sliced tomatoes. And for this dish, all the other 3 ingredients, that is the yellow squash, zucchini, and tomato, all came from my wife's garden. In fact, she just picked from her garden early this afternoon. And I must admit, her vegetables taste much better than the one that I would have bought from the grocery store. In a quick few stir, the dish is done. The total cook time is a little bit over 6 minutes. I transferred the contents of the wok to a dish that I have some striper that I shallow fry earlier. This dish is a good demonstration of my fast cooking system, which is flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking that I'm able to make use of whatever ingredients that are available to me at the time and to create something that is interesting and delicious. In this dish, the striper came from my neighbor. He caught it from his pond. As I have mentioned earlier, the yellow squash, zucchini, and tomatoes all came from my wife's garden. So the only ingredients in this dish that I purchased from the store is the bok choy. And by using my fast cooking system, this dish took only about 15 minutes to cook. We serve this dish with rice, and it is a delicious and delightful dish. With its complex flavor, it is highly satiating. I post a video each day to help people to adopt my fast cooking system so that they can make home cooking as part of their daily routines. And if you'd like to learn more about my cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.